Welcome all to our directors meeting, to our session that is one part of project Effective Museum Leadership in Mitigating Risk in Conflicts and Crisis. These partners are, as you received below in our invitation, the leading partner here is ICOM Southeast Europe Regional Alliance. Then we have INTERCOM, International Committee for Museum Management. Then we have another regional alliance, ICOM Arab, then national committees, ICOM Zambia and ICOM Tanzania, and also partner is Fundación TIPA from Argentina. So quite vivid and interesting partnership that also derives from the projects that actually were led more mostly from, actually not mostly, but from Intercom in previous years, and ICOM SEE participated, and most of you know the projects. So this is maybe the introduction from some other time. But for this project, maybe just to say about the aims, the most important aim is generating guidelines, templates, and a technical manual to enable national committees, international committees, and regional alliance to implement their own directors forum to support museum leaders facing local crises as wars, cultural disruptions, trafficking, or global issues as climate crises, biodiversity crises, and so on. In our projects, we already had one directors forum, one part of the project that was actually live in January in Rabat with ICOM Arab. So we already did some activities. Materials are prepared. Here is Lizzie Moriarty, one of the authors of the materials, one of the leaders, one of the workers, one of the experts included in this project. And today we have another test kind of in our ICOM SEE region. We also invited all the partners. I'm sorry that they could not make it, but it doesn't matter. Thank you all for coming here. So we will actually test the guidelines, the templates, the manual, and also I'm thankful for everything that was already done. Ushka Purk is coming. And as I am now in other place and not in my office, I actually decided to try also to learn everything that I have to do as an administrator. So this, as a chair of ICOM SEE, this is my welcome. Urshka, everything okay?
Everything good.
Everything good, okay. We actually did not have time, we decided not to wait exactly for you, but we will. So for the beginning, I want you, if you can open your videos, so I will make a photo with actual live persons behind all the
yes,
the little screen, TV screen. So is it possible, because I know that during everything that we will try to test today, it will not be possible. So thank you all. I'm still waiting for a few of you. If you hear me,
please do it.
please do it.
Because,
and you know,
yes.
Goranka knows, and we know how this is important for reporting, because we have to do reports, we have to prove, we have to have this kind of recordings
material,
and also,
yes.
yeah, and also nice persons.
And of course, for dissemination on our website, please, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the summary so that we can publish on Intercom and other partners' websites.
So okay, I will do this also many times during that, but for the start, if it's possible, again, I'm asking again. I still don't have everyone. So is it possible?
But do it like this, because people are
I will do it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
phoning,
I already
it will
did
be
it.
constantly like this.
Yeah. I already did this. I know that. Okay, thank you. So we are going on with the program, or do you want to add something for introduction? Because we have the representative of the partner Intercom, Goran Kahorian, and we have our expert, our cooperator, Lizzie Moriarty. Do you want to say something for the beginning? Maybe hello, Goranka, because you're...
No, just I would like to greet everybody. Thank you for joining us. And I'm really glad that the directors' forums are progressing. And we will wrap up this year with good recommendations. And I would also like to thank Lizzie for her efforts for pushing this forum story for almost through 2 years. And it involves a lot of work. And of course, to you, Alenka, as a project leader, who really supported well and organized everything. So thanks, you and your team, Urshka, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. As we already said, Lizzie, do you want to say something? Sorry. Maybe at the
yeah. No, just perhaps to give some background context, which you will have seen in the invitation that we sent out. These directors' forums we created as a result of the feedback from museum leaders all over the world, which was part of the first phase of this project, which was a research into what are the challenges facing museum leaders. And we carried that out. We interviewed 40 museum leaders all over the world and did surveys of another 900 museum directors. And we looked at the regional difficulties that each region of the world had: Latin America, South Asia, Southeast Europe, and Africa. And we then created directors' forums in those regions for directors to be able to talk together about the regionally specific problems that they were facing. And we found that this had a really useful effect for museum directors to exchange ideas. Some people came up with solutions that other museums had problems with. It was really enriching. So then the third and final phase of this project is to create these guidelines that Alenka mentioned, so that national committees and international committees can do their own directors' forums and support each other in that way, and create these direct online forums like we're having now. So this is a kind of testing. We're testing all the materials. How did the invitations work? How did the briefing of the speaker work, etc.? So that's just to give you a little bit of context as to why we're all here today.
Thank you. Okay, so according to the plan, now I'm introducing our keynote speaker. It's a colleague from Slovenia, Dr. Miha Kosmac, director of City Museum Idrija in Cerkno, one of the young colleagues as a director, but also already experienced with a lot of challenges in his work. And the latest actually is very connected with the crises that are worldwide known and actually are affecting the museum work all over. And this case, I think gives us a lot of opportunities to on one hand to get some insight, on the other hand also to get some maybe also solutions, what we can do, what are his experience and what are his suggestions. So Miha, thank you for saying yes to our invitation to be keynote speaker for today. And the floor is yours. If you want to add something more from your CV, please, you're welcome. But please, I think that you can share the screen, share it, and thank you. The floor is yours. Yes. Okay. We see it. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So thank you first for the invitation. I think it's a very nice opportunity also for me and for our institution to share our experience also in this time when we have a lot of challenges also, when we are trying to convince our government about our monument to restore it, I think it's good that we also share it to the public and to stress out all the challenges, but also the importance of the monument in general. So at the beginning, I will just do a short introduction, historical background also because I'm a historian myself. I worked in the Science and Research Center in Koper for 7 years, and then I was a curator in the Idria Municipal Museum, and now I'm a director. So this is my CV in short. Franja Partizan Hospital.
Sorry, Miha,
Yeah.
can you start the presentation because we see left and yeah.
Okay. No, it's okay.
No, we see both. You have to start the presentation. Yeah.
F5. If you press F5 or the 1, 2, 3, 4th up left key, yeah, it will go full screen.
Is it okay now?
Don't see anything at the moment.
We don't see anything.
Checking. I'll start again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I don't see my file. Okay. Checking. Always troubles.
Yeah, we see your email now.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I will go like that. I think it would be better.
That's okay.
Yeah, now.
And now just press F5 and it will start.
Okay.
Yes.
There we go. Perfect.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. The story of Partizan Hospital Franja started in December 1943 when it was officially opened for the wide range of population that get help from the hospital. The specific of Franja is that is practically laying in the Pasice Gorge, which is very hard to reach, and because of that, we have a lot of challenges. The location of the hospital is here, and as you can see, it is surrounded by 2 hills. Here on the left side is Veliki Niuč, and on the right side is Mali Niuč. Also because of this hill range, we have specific climate conditions and also specific about the rain sometimes. So there is a lot of challenges. So during the history, in the period of the Second World War, especially the support of the local population was important because 3 homestead, as you can see here on the map, it's called Vologu, Pricmilku, and Pripodnivču, was very important for the hospital because all the support came from this side of the population. The first doctor that came to the Partizan Hospital Franja was Dr. Viktor Volchak. But later on, as it was also named, so the hospital get named from the Franja boys, which was at the end of the war also married in the hospital and get also the surname Bidovec. At the beginning, just only 1 ward of the hospital was built, but later on, during the war, altogether 14 barracks were made. the hospital get larger during the time period of the Second World War. And you can see one of these first maps here, how the barracks were situated, and here in the middle you can see the river that is still important, and it's called Cherinshchica. Construction continued until the end of the war, when as many as 14 wooden cabins for various purposes were crammed together at the bottom of the gorge. In addition to the hospital center ward, located in the gorge and intended for those with serious wounds, 10 smaller wards were built at the various locations from Cerklansky Vrh to Jalovica. One specific is also that the nursing staff at the Franja Hospital included people of various occupations, and only the head nurse, Lydia Zlatoper, here on the right side, was the one that had officially completed the nursing school. All others didn't have any proper schooling. So that's also interesting from the point of view of this history of small men. And many of also other that supported the hospital later stayed after they were getting treatment and joined the staff of the hospital after their recovery. So although the hospital was primarily intended for treating wounded and sick partisans, it not refused medical help from civilians. So altogether, nearly 900 patients of different nationalities, as you can see here on the map, were treated in its wards, most of them in the central B ward, located in the Pasice Gorge. From there, many were sent for further treatment and internal wards, which normally admitted the sick and those with minor injuries. So just over 6% of patients were women. According to the data collected so far, 83 people died in the hospital. Here you can see some pictures from the staff that was leaving the hospital at the close to the end of the war on 5th May 1945. Here we can start the story of the Franja as a monument. Already during the war, one of the doctors, Dr. Podkoriknik, wrote that this hospital should be preserved as an example of what of love for freedom can build. So his thought came true in May 1946 when the monument was opened to the public. Here are some important milestones. So in 1952, Franja was listed as a protected monument. With a decree in December 1962, the municipality of Idrija entrusted the management of the Franja Hospital to the Idrija Municipal Museum, which has been its manager since. In 1999, Franja was declared a cultural monument of national importance with a decree by the government of the Republic of Slovenia. Soon after, a request to include Franja on the UNESCO World Heritage List was submitted. And while awaiting the inclusion, Franja was placed on its trial list in June 2000. So with the award of the European Heritage Label in 2014, Franja Partisan Hospital was acknowledged as a site that forms an important part of common European history and culture. The label signifying the values as humanity, solidarity, tolerance, integration in intercultural dialogue, that are at the top of a value system of today's United Europe underline the symbolic significance of the area. On the one hand, and it has contributed to an increased awareness of the European dimension of our area, and on the other hand, to its greater visibility. Now we get to this focus of my presentation. So, what are the most important challenges in the management and especially monitoring of the monument? I will sum up some of the biggest natural disasters that we already faced in the past. And in the end, I will also get to the questions that were raised and are in the and will be later in the debate after my presentation. So, in the decades after the war, the wooden cabins, which were built as provisional shelters, required constant maintenance due to adverse climatic conditions in the gorge and various amount of damage. The cabins and other facilities required constant maintenance. As the monument is located in extremely sensitive natural environment, it has encountered natural disasters such as floods, avalanches, and landslides of various magnitudes since the outset. In the light of climatic change, they are unfortunately becoming more frequent. This is the third time since 1989, and we also seen the pictures, that we have confronted with large-scale impacts. Here are the consequences of a rocky avalanche that appeared at the beginning of the 1989, and altogether for approximately 30,000 cubic meters of debris was removed from the gorge. So here are the consequences of the flooding that appeared on 18 September and in 2007. So the swollen Cherinshita torrent destroyed all but one cabin and carried out everything in its path. So most of the collection also, which originally included exclusively original items that were installed as equipment and accessories in the cabins of the Franja Partisan Hospital, was unfortunately also destroyed in the flood in 2007, which resulting in 494 items being eliminated from it. The important thing is that just one day after the accident, the Slovenian government pledged to restore the national monument, and after consulting with experts, a complete reconstruction was decided. The documentation prepared by the Idrija Municipal Museum before the disaster, such as a blueprint of the cabins, geological terrain studies, riverbank restoration project, a list of museum items, provided very useful in all these activities. So we can point out the importance of documentation here. So in general, in case when we are dealing with natural disasters. The reconstruction involved many experts attracting wide public interest and support. On 22nd of May 2010, the hospital, the monument was officially reopened. Here you can see some pictures of the consequences of the flooding that appeared on 13 July 2023. And also later, you can see just 5 days later, we have also blown down that especially damaged the access road to the Franja hospital. We will now watch a short video to see the consequences of these storms. You'll get the comparison. So how was the status before and after the natural disaster? So you can see that all the access path was completely damaged. Most of it was gone, and for approximately of 100 cubic meters of wood was damaged during the blowdown. So here in the core zone of the monument, the 3 cabins of X-ray kitchen and electric plant were completely ruined, but others are also influenced, especially by mud. So practically no one so practically all were suffered some damage. So. So here you can see the X-ray and also part of the kitchen that were completely ruined. So before we attempt to renovate the cabins, we will have to clean the area and restore flood barriers that are higher in the gorge, and as well as the protective nets. So here is the second water barrier. Here it's altogether of 10.5 meters of height, and in one night it was because of the light slant here on the left side of the gorge, altogether of approximately 3,000 cubic meters of material fell in this barrier in one night. But we can ask that luckily we had this barrier, otherwise all this material would go together with the flow of Cherinchica. And here is also the map of the protective nets that are inside of the monument. You can see here is a map of barracks, and practically above all of the barracks we have some protective nets, and we have to constantly clean them, all the material. And this is very important because the safety of the people that are working inside of the monument, and especially for the visitors. So you can see here also some of the consequences. Only in one night we have approximately 400 cubic meters of this material that were inside of the protective nets. And before in the March and 2023, we luckily cleaned all of this material before we opened the monument. Otherwise, all these protective nets will be probably torn apart, and we would definitely have more damage inside of the monument otherwise. So after the natural disaster, we organized the saving of the museum items that were still left in the monument. Or we also took all the equipment, so everything was we moved everything into the Cerkno Museum. So now I will try to sum up or to stress out some of the questions that were raised in preparing this forum. So influencing and stakeholders management. I will explain everything from my side of view in case of Franja Partisan Hospital. So I already stressed out that continuous monitoring of the area is of great importance. It's to ensure the safety of the monument and the safety of visitors and employees. Barriers must be emptied, the rockfall nets must be emptied, the climatic conditions in the gorge and the state of the huts must be monitored. Also very important is the regular reporting on the status and communication with the owner of the monument, in our case the municipality of Cerkno, and also with the regional unit of the Institute for the Protection of Cultural Heritage, representative of the Ministry of Culture and also EHL Bureau. Very important is also that we have an evacuation plan in the event of the rising water in the gorge. So we have also some protocols that save our employees and also the visitors. In case of Franja, the problem is that the museum prepared the monument management plan, but was later not approved by the municipality of Cerkno. So to stress out also the empowering of staff and organizational development. So how to guide inside the museum. In relation to the Franja Partisan Hospital monument, it is highly important to respond quickly and in timely manner. So to provide professional information, this is ensured also by regular staff training within broad team of curators and the museum director, and also by regular information flow set. So that we have this constant communication, what is happening inside of the monument, what we have to do, and that we respond quickly. And also it is important that that we have adequate statistical support so that as many factors as possible can be measured. For example, we have statistic about how many good and bad weathers days we have inside of the monument. What are the climatic conditions? Where in which time period we have the most problem with humidity and so on. So this is also very important too when we are comparing years, and we can see if we have some common grounds. So if we start out also the strategic communication and profile rising. So immediately after the flood, we were able to evacuate all the small inventory. As I already said, in the Cerkno Museum, we opened the exhibition Franja Partisan Hospital, Hidden Gem of Europe, which was also supplemented with the objects from Franja Hospital, which is, as you can see, the reconstruction of an operating room. And although monument is close to public, our pedagogical and andragogical programs are still ongoing, and so is the promotion of the values of the European Heritage Label. As part of our promotional activities, we are placing Franja's message in the context of current events, so war in Ukraine, war in Gaza, and to promote the importance of peace, humanity, and also solidarity. after the natural disaster in July, the museum also opened a special account to collect donations for the restoration of the monument. And we are also organizing several events that support this donation campaign. As you can see, one example is the Evening of Remembrance, when we also promote the valleys of Franja and also the importance to make another reconstruction. And as you can see here in this invitation, on 22nd of June, we organized a concert in Cerkno when we will again rise and support the donations. So thank you for your time, and now I'm also open for some questions.
Thank you very much, Miha. Lizzie, can you start, because you are experienced and
so the idea now is that each of the moderators from the feedback
Yes.
from the breakout rooms will
Yes.
feed back into plenary, and then we can have a discussion. So I was in a breakout room with Azra from the National Museum of Bosnia-Herzegovina. She's a conservator, and we had a very interesting discussion around really preparedness and how you get the message across. As a museum director, your responsibility to get the message across that you have to be prepared before the catastrophe happens. And sometimes it's very difficult to get people to understand that when money is very difficult to come by. And so putting in preventative measures isn't necessarily something that the city authorities or the funders want to do. So we had a really interesting discussion around what that means for museum directors. And we were thinking, Miha, you have so much evidence of how bad it really can get, and the way that you're using that to show the authorities that preparedness is better than, preventing it is better than trying to deal with it once it's happened. And you had those preventative measures in place, the nets and that sort of thing. And luckily they held and they didn't do any more damage, but the damage already was pretty massive. So that was one thing, the whole idea of an emergency plan. And then we were talking about, with that relationship with government, perhaps several museum directors getting together and talking as a group to the authorities about the importance of preventative measures would be a good thing, and having the common place where directors can talk together would be very useful. So that's what these directors forums are about, because as Azra said, culture is already at the bottom of the political list of priorities. So perhaps with more voices of more directors in a city or in a country, it starts to raise it up the priority list. So that's a little bit of what we had to say. Azra, I don't know if you want to add anything, if I've missed anything out.
No, I think that you said everything. It was just two of us talking for 13 minutes. Yes.
We had some silent ones in our room. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I think that it's okay if people want to just listen. It's always okay. If you want to debate, it's also okay. So thank you for that. Urshka, can you be the next? Unmute, yeah.
Yep, and there we go. Sorry, this always takes a minute. So we've had a debate on strategic communications and profile raising. Our first idea was we just kind of went through of all the things that we had, because Koranka wonderfully explained and summarized how this idea is being developed through time. And then we discussed basically the problem of segmentations of fields within museum, which is always a problem, not only in crisis, but in crisis it's just, extra a problem. Like you segment the communications department as something over there, and then you segment the curator's work as something separate as well. And that is, as I said, always a problem, not just during crisis and after crisis, but it's a constant thing that it has to be incorporated. So not to have a promotion for promotion's sake, but integral part of museums' work in general, and then it will help you when the crisis arise. We also went concretely through how other museums are dealing with this. So we had the Municipal Museum from Pregrada, who are really we saw some positive sides and negative sides of being a local museum or being a national museum. Being a small museum, it's really great because you're locally very intertwined and you are connected. You can cooperate with schools, with everything that is around you. So you have the built society and everything, but reaching out to the national media and to the government, it's really hard in this case. So also, I think from the Homeland Museum of Knieževac, it was confirmed that it's really hard to reach out national media or big media if you're not coming to Belgrade, so to the capital. You need to come to them, they will not come to you. So that was one of the things. And also the commercialism of media, so that they perceive our museum offer as something that is actually a commercial thing, and they don't try to step up for the public acknowledgement of it, and they wish to charge for it, obviously. So I think those were the main issues. And media is absolutely extremely important in this case, especially when the crisis arises. So did I miss anything? Would anyone like to add from my group? We were quite a few and we were quite chatty.
No, we think that this is also something that has to be with the professional ethics of the journalists. So we may probably gather around and in the future trying to send a clear message that museums' work should be followed not on paid basis, that it's a socially, important activity which is funded by the local, national, regional governments. So this is not a subject for extracting money from museums to actually publish the programs they have for the audience.
And especially not in the time of crisis. So maybe later when we'll have the time for a minute or two for Micha, I would like to ask this question. How were the media responding? Were they taking advantage of the crisis or were they helpful? So
they always do take advantage of the crisis. Okay. Yeah. So they live out of it.
Okay, thank you. This is the question for later. I'm reporting for the group that actually talked about empowering staff and organizational development. In this group, we were from Museum of Hrvatsko Zagorje, different units. For Miha Kosmač with us and me from the regional museum, from ICOM SEE, and also from Slovenian kind of museum association. So we talked, as Miha already emphasized, one thing is training, but you can never be trained enough for this type of disasters. So always have to be a lot of understanding, patience, and also communication between the staff, between the leaders, between the local government, even though we try to improve the knowledge, improve we can cope with the crisis all the time, especially in these regions that we're kind of used to many crises all the time. It is different, but in open air museum or even localities that are connected with the nature, this is kind of something that is going on all the time in one way, and we don't have actually good tools for preventing it. We also talked about how we can add value, not just in our staff, but also with our community, because we ask ourselves what would actually be, what would actually happen if, for example, in Slovenia, we decide not to renovate, not to not to spend the money for building the hospital again. This is also some kind of discussion. But actually, as a museum people, of course, we said it's worthwhile. And the people, of course, that are working there for 30 years and they have a special emotional connection with the heritage that is in their hands. This is actually not at all the question. But we know that we are asking this ourselves. But with the promotional actions that, for example, Frania is doing, and with the awareness that is built through different programs that actually the staff is dedicated to, I think that this question maybe can be raised if we do it or not, but we hope that it's always answered, yes, of course, this is our heritage. Everything costs money. We know how much we invest in other things that are not helping in our development. We have many cases of that. So I think that we decided that it's worthwhile, and actually Miha gave some example how this campaign is working to raise the money for renovating the hospital. So this is the question for him that he can answer for all. And then we will, maybe this is the first question, if that's okay. Or you can add, do you want to add something, Jurica, Miha? I tried to write down what we talked about. I hope that I covered everything. Jurica?
No, you covered everything.
Okay, thank you.
What I've been talking about.
So Miha, can you maybe explain us how the campaign is working and this night connection in this between two countries, cooperation also, Slovenia and Italy?
Yeah, so we through media we get support from also from the partisan board of Slovenia, and with their connection also with the Italian side, it's called AMPI. And through them we are now raising money until the end of the June, and then they will get us the first transaction of the collected money, and they will then go on with the campaign until the end of the year. So we decided to get a 2 times in a year, so to get the money. We also support the big one, the big donations also through the media then, and this is also connected with the start of this natural disaster. So at the beginning, all the medias want to be first. So 10 minutes maybe or 15 minutes then that we get on our official page the information about the disaster in Frania, we get quote from various journalists, and all wanted to be the first, so to decide the date when they want to come and to film us, and then to promote this on television. And we at that point decided that we will not give any partial informations, that we will wait for 1 day and then organize the the journalist conference. And we get to all the medias that responded the information at the same time and in the same place. And I think that from tactical point of view, that was quite a good strategy, because also later on we could build the relations with the journalists later on, because they were kind of all on the same page, so no one was favorized. So I think that was very important. And also the donation campaigns we are now dealing or promote through various medias on the national level and especially on the local one. It is also depend from which place the donation come, and we are also in connection with with them. So also ask if they have any favorite medias that they want to be published and so on. So.
Thank you. I have another question. Is this a sign of UNESCO heritage helps you with raising money and raising awareness for renovation and quick actions?
No, nothing special. I think that the most important factor in raising donations is that people that visited Franja are emotionally detected to the monument. So these emotions are the most important factor in raising donations.
Thank you. Please, other comments and questions? Do you want to add something, ask something?
Miha, I was just interested in the relationship with UNESCO and how that happens and whether there's anything that they can do, or when you update them on such a disaster, what's their response?
So we were constantly in contact with the HIL Bureau. They are coming to Slovenia, to Franja on 11th of June. They will also get a meeting with the national coordinator on the 10th of June, and then they will see the monument, the conditions. The problem is that EHL is now at that point that they can't get any practical support in case of the project or something like that. The bureau itself is at the beginning now, as we all know. But I think that this moral support is also important. So we have an important factor on our side. So that is also kind of the pressure now on the Slovene government and the local community to respond it. Now we explained to everyone that we are in contact with them, but until we said that they are coming, nobody was very active. But now also everyone would like to take picture with them. I don't know.
That's very interesting, and interesting that there is a value in having that sort of international body looking at you, and then what that means for local government, and yeah, it's useful.
Yeah. Thank you. So any other questions, comments?
I wanted something. My connection was unstable, so I maybe didn't get it earlier. I wanted to ask Miha if you have experienced some losses in terms of museum objects from your museum.
So in the first flood in 2007, we lost 494 museum items, but now in the second flood, so in 2023, we didn't get much loss because they were all copies of the museum items. So we will just get a new replicas, and that's it. Because all the other original museum items were still in the Cerkno Museum. So that was a helpful experience from the first time.
Did the items from the first flood appear in some, when people are searching with different types of equipment?
Yeah, we get a detector of metals and so on, and we altogether, I think that more than 80 museum items was found during this stream of Cherinščica. Some was also in the wood and in the mud and so on. So we restored some of them, but definitely not all.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, and again, I would just add that it was very helpful that we had the documentation for all of the museum items, especially for the wooden one and so on, so we could make a useful replicas based on the documentation.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for our keynote speaker? Or any other comments for the topic that we discussed, something added? Okay, no. We promised to finish in 1.5 hours. So we have now the time for a short wrap up. Maybe I can again ask Goranka, because actually the idea of this type of connections with leaders and governance actually started in Intercom as one of very important ICOM strategic plans, also to improve leadership in the whole world, and you connected in Intercom different countries. So maybe some thoughts for the end. Can I invite you, Goranka?
Yes, thank you. For us, it is crucial that we somehow include all different strata of leadership, management, and governance that have a significant impact on how institutions are run. So far, we have really conducted a lot of projects in the last 3 years, and we saw what risks and problems appear in different parts of the world, but most of them are shared. And this is what keeps us committed to the task to find solutions for the museums and to see how we can help institutions to communicate their necessities, and both internally and externally, how to secure fundings. Just a moment, I have to put off Darko. And then also to see how to meet new challenges that are constantly appearing. Because either crisis, either some upheavals, or new elements that are added to your regular work, that actually cause the increase of expenses, increased demands for funding, like green agendas, like fighting climate changes, like introducing new digitally service solutions. So all this requires human and financial resources, and it really seems like a never-ending story for people who are leading museums. And I think this will be a huge problem in the future, even to find people who are willing to commit their time and energy to properly manage the institutions.
Yeah, thank you. This is really true because we talked with Micha yesterday, and challenged to do everything that has to be done for successful story again is a huge task, and it's really not just 8 hours job. It's kind of everyday way of life in one way, dedicated to this.
Yes, but the problem is actually that everybody else has a paid job. We are not, like politicians or something, that we are building our careers on that. We are on a 4 years contract or 5 years contract, and we have signed the contract with our founder for 40 hours per week. We haven't signed for 7 days, 20 hours per week. So this is why my contract is not then valid and my employee's contract is valid.
Yeah,
This
true.
is a legal issue.
Yeah.
It's not that our goodwill is calculated, because later you suffer from health problems, from you don't have your personal life, you are nervous. Why all directors are nervous? I'm really I had one lecture about this communication problem between the superiors. And it seems that when somebody becomes the director, then immediately he is not understood by the other employees. He's too nervous. He doesn't have time to listen to the old employees. You are really shocked. I was following some networks also, especially in the States. This empathy for the people around, which you have to develop plus your regular job. I don't know when. So you see that the whole world of museums really does not see what amount of work is on the shoulders of very few people.
Yeah. Thank you for that thought. The last year's theme, well-being, should not be only for the world outside the museum and the visitors and the users, but also for us. Yeah. So this actually, I opened this topic because we talked with Miha yesterday quite a lot. What are the challenges actually? And we do not always talk about this openly. So I hope we will have opportunity again, and opportunity also with the projects that are following, because this is a very important topic. And I'm really thankful to Intercom, to all the partners to include us, because our regional alliance is part of Europe, of course, but also have some special needs, have some common particularities, and I think that it's nice that we can address them all together. So we just had an excellent annual conference in Kikinda in Serbia. Milena had to leave, but I would like also to thank Museum of Kikinda, National Museum of Kikinda, for hospitality, and the members of ICOM SEE for his hospitality also. And National Museum of Kikinda received the award today from ICOM Serbia. So this is also acknowledgement and congratulations. We are celebrating the National Museum Day also with this event. This year is dedicated to education and research. And I think we also talked about this today, because it has many layers, and we opened also a lot of them. So thank you all for being here. I know that you have to leave, and special thanks to Miha Kosmac for sharing with us his experience, and this, on one hand, very awful story, on the other hand, the story that gives us hope for the heritage. And I hope that it gives you enough of strength to continue your work. And we are always with all the people that are having this type of challenges. We cannot always help, but maybe with good thoughts and with this support also, we can do some small step for this success. Okay, thanks to all. I hope to see you soon again. Urshka will send you a questionnaire for feedback, and please follow this project. And I hope that this guidelines, toolkits, and everything will be a good support for your work in the future. Yes. Thank you very much. All the best.